Hey folks, it's Brian again with Survival on Purpose, and I want to shoot another video today in the basic camping, basic outdoor series, and this time about sleeping pads, sleeping mats. And I've got several that I've got over the years. Again, I've got a lot of stuff I've gotten over the years, and I want to kind of go over the pluses and minuses, pros and cons of different types, and talk for a minute about why you need a sleeping pad. You may think I'm just too tough, it doesn't matter, but it's more than just comfort. Although for me, it's also a lot about comfort. If I'm sleeping on the ground, I like to have some padding. Honestly, I usually sleep in a hammock, but when I have to sleep on the ground, and when you have to sleep on the ground, you definitely need a sleeping pad. And the reason is, the ground is like a heat sink. So even, especially when in cooler weather, you may be completely comfortable, but it's just sucking the heat out of your body. So that's what a sleeping pad does, a good sleeping pad. It provides a layer of insulation to minimize conductive heat loss. Conduction is transfer of heat between solid objects, between two objects, which are touching each other. So I'm going to go real quickly over just some of the choices you have, and I hope this is helpful. So stick with me and we'll look at some sleeping pads. Okay, the first kind of sleeping pad I want to look at, it's just probably the least expensive. It's a cheap foam pad. You can see this is I think it's called closed cell foam. To be honest with you, I don't know. But you can see these, you find these at Walmart or any other store basically for, around $10 or less, sometimes $5 or $6. And I used to keep mine rolled up. One of the advantages of these obviously is it's very, very low cost. Okay, I had a little trouble with that knot. I had a band-aid on my finger. But you see, very low cost. And believe it or not, these things actually do a really good job of insulating you against convective heat loss, because they've got they trap a lot of air, and they're pretty solid. So they're not the most comfortable in the world, but they do a good job of protecting you against convective heat loss. They're reasonably water resistant. They won't soak up a lot of water like a sponge. And again, this is probably your lowest cost option, so around $10 or under. I'll show you another little thing I like about these. We went on a canoe trip this year to the Okefenokee Swamp in southeast Georgia, and we just rented aluminum canoes, so it was not necessarily the most comfortable choice of canoes in the world. So I took an old one of these I had, and I'll show you in just a second how we did that, and cut it up into strips or pieces, and where you can sit on the canoe. And what I've found since then is I just carry one of these with me when I go wherever I go. You can fold it up and put it on top of your pack, lash it on your pack. Makes a great knee pad. If you're in wet areas, you can sit on it, sitting on a log, sitting on the ground or whatever. It weighs virtually nothing. Keep your butt dry and your knees dry. And so that's another little use for these. For under $10, you can make 5 or 6 of these, and you got some seats and some knee pads or whatever. So that's the cheap foam mat. Moving up a little bit, we have another foam mat. This one is, you can see it's got like little bubbles of foam in it, and it's a little softer. It rolls a little better, and I actually use these a lot. They're very, very well at protecting you against convective heat loss. And when you got your sleeping bag on top of it, all these little channels trap more air, so they provide a little more insulation. They're a little more comfortable, and they roll up a lot better. And they also don't hold their shape and try to stay rolled up like the other ones. You can see this thing. Let me step back. The very end, that's on the inside of the roll, kind of does, but it really comes back out pretty quickly. And so you're not constantly fighting that memory that is in that pad from being rolled up. So this is another good choice. Again, these are reasonably inexpensive. This is probably under 15 bucks. And you find these a lot of different places. Moving up a little bit, this is something I used for years and I don't anymore. And this is just a Coleman regular air mattress, but it's made for camping. So I'll tell you the pluses are it's probably the most comfortable, at least in the summertime. It's pretty big. You can see this thing is, that's about 6 something by about 3 something. And you get it full of air, it really is pretty comfortable. However, it's heavy. It's the heaviest one of the bunch because it's made out of this vinyl material. And it is a pain in the neck to blow up, which is why it's not blown up for you in this video, because it would take me forever to blow it up. I have actually a little battery pack inflator that you can buy, and they're about 20 bucks for the inflator from Coleman for inflating these inflatable mattresses. This is a medium small size one. They make obviously queen size full ones that you may have for a spare bed in your home. I don't use this anymore because I got tired carrying the inflator, the batteries, and I just mostly sleep in the hammock now. But this is if you really like comfort and it's not too cold. This doesn't do a great job of insulating you from the cold because you're up on a big cushion of air and it doesn't really trap enough air pockets. That air gets cold. So, but an air mattress is a good comfort solution, especially in milder temperature. And if you're car camping, you're not backpacking, you don't really care about the weight, and you got room for a inflator, or you just like blowing stuff up with your lungs, then this is a good option too. And these are probably 20 bucks. Moving up a little more. This is a very lightweight option, and it's extremely popular. It is a Thermarest. So this is probably, it says by the makers of Thermarest, so this may be one of their budget models. It's just Cascade Designs Incorporated, but it's made in the USA. It's very lightweight, and it is they call it a self-inflating mat, and you'll see self-inflating mat a lot. And it's actually, okay, so that was the cover that was made by Thermarest. This is actually the mattress, and it is a Thermarest Explorer. I've had this one, again, 15 years. Still works great. The way it works is this thing has an open cell foam mat inside of the cover, and it's got different texture covers on it. So what's supposed to happen is you open this up and it starts inflating. You may can even see it starting to take in air. What I have found is you have to blow this thing up. So let me do that for you, and you'll see how thick it is and how it works. Okay, so you can see now that I've got it blown up, it's very stiff. I mean, it kind of holds its own shape. This particular one is, gosh, maybe an inch thick. So there are different thicknesses. The thicker ones are probably more comfortable. They're also heavier, and they generally cost more. This is like a 3/4 length backpacker model. So you can see it's up to here on me. So if you're sleeping, it'll protect your core. And again, so that's the self-inflating. That's the Thermarest. It's probably the most popular brand out there. And this one's, like I say, 15 years old. I've used it over and over and over and over, and it's still going strong. So, and I did get the cover, a little extra cover that goes around it to kind of keep it protected, and that's probably helped it last this long. But that's the self-inflating Thermarest mat. Got one more option to show you. It's very similar. It's just a different brand, a little bit heavier. This is a Alps Mountaineering self-inflating self-inflating pad rather, and it's about the same thing. The difference is it is just a thicker model. Anyway, I want to get this blown up and show you too, because it's pretty comfortable actually. I'll get this blown up here, and it's the same situation. Kind kind of tight in here. I have to say that the recommended method for storing these things is inflated. So if you have somewhere that you can hang them up in a closet or somewhere, it's better if you store them inflated, or at least inflate them and then kind of open the valve to let them deflate a little bit, but not store them rolled up. Actually, you can hear it inflating itself right now. As you open it up, it starts sucking in air. Let me blow this one up and I'll show you why I like it the best. Okay, that's a test of my lung capacity there. So this is again, this is the Alps Mountaineering Comfort Series. And I want to show you the difference between this one and this one, the Thermarest. So this one's a little thicker. The Alps Mountaineering is a little thicker. It's also, as you can see, hopefully, a lot longer. So it's also a little heavier. Covers you get your entire body on it. Which may or may not be necessary, but it's the Alps Mountaineering. You see one side, it's got these little rubberized kind of dots on it to keep your sleeping bag from slipping on it. So and this is or to let your sleeping bag slip. I guess this is the slippery side, and this side is kind of a felt feeling, soft. I don't know what you would call it, but it's softer, and your sleeping bag's not going to slide on one side or the other. So again, that is a self-inflating mat. Now I can tell you these are probably the most comfortable. The downside to a self-inflating mat is, whether it be a thick one or a thin one, is if you get a puncture in this thing anywhere over time, then it's not going to work anymore, period. It's not going to hold air. You can patch it, and they make patch kits for them. But if you're out in the woods, you need to make sure you have your patch kit with you. The foam mats, pretty much indestructible, not as comfortable, but they do as good a job, I think, of insulating from convective heat loss. So, okay, I just wanted to kind of go over real quick. You go to put these things up. What you want to do is you undo, and you can hear the air coming out of it. Undo the air out of it. Usually I'll just let it sit for a little while, and then, depending on which one I want out, just start rolling it up. It's not rocket science, but what I want to show you is generally, you kind of roll it up fast. You can hear the air coming out. And then close the little thing, roll it back out, start on the other end, and then kind of roll it a little tighter this time. And you wind up this end getting full, so you open it up again. And once you get it rolled up, what you do is go ahead and tighten it, re-tighten the air valve, and then it'll kind of stay where it's at. Really, if you let it go, it doesn't roll out because and we either got a bag to put it in, or in this case, this comes with a little cover. So they say you can use this cover for a pillow. I've never been able to figure out how to do that, to be honest with you. So I just roll it up in here, and got to get it covered up. And snap around. There you have it, Thermarest pad. Okay, well, that was a quick rundown on sleeping pads, which is something you're going to need if you're going to spend much time camping and spending time in the outdoors overnight, sleeping outdoors. Unless you're doing like really primitive bushcraft type reenactment type camping, then you probably won't want to use one of these. But if you're like most of us, you will. And so we covered from the lowest price one, which is just a basic cheap foam pad, which actually works very well for preventing convective heat loss, to the upper end of the price, which can be well over $100 on some of these, which is a self-inflating. This one is a Thermarest. The other one was a different brand. I will tell you, these are probably the most comfortable. The downside to a self-inflating mat is if you get a hole in it, get a puncture in it, it's not going to work. So you have to patch it, which is not a big deal, but it is something to be aware of. These generally cost a little more money, or a lot more money, depending on your I guess your taste, which ones you decide you want. But they come in a wide variety of thicknesses and weights and comfort levels. But it is something I think that it's not just about comfort, it's definitely about preventing convective heat loss to the ground, and something you really need. So this has been Brian with another video in the Basic Camping, Basic Outdoor series. And thanks for watching my Survival on Purpose channel. I appreciate you subscribing. I appreciate if you click that little thumbs up thing down at the bottom if you like this video. If you like it or like to see another subject covered, please leave a comment, and I really appreciate it. I'll be back to you just as soon as I can. This is Brian with Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident. See you next time.